Hi, this is Julie Lyon with a rather unorthodox approach to this week's assignment submission. First, let me preface this by saying that I slipped on some water in my bathroom on Thursday morning and unceremoniously fell, breaking my arm in two places. I've broken my radius kind of midway and then at the wrist, and then also I've got some wrist bones that are fractured as well, and that has kind of rendered my arm useless for some period of time to be determined by the doctors tomorrow, I hope. It's very difficult to try to type. It's very, very painful, and I really can't move my fingers at all. So I'm hoping that this Voki video will suffice for the response to the article on Beyond the Dog and Pony Show by Dr. Linda Montgomery Buell. I hope you enjoy this fabulous Voki video that I've created for you, and I do hope this does not adversely affect my grade. Thank you for your consideration. Dr. Linda Montgomery Buell's article, Beyond the Dog and Pony Show, Feedback That Really Works, talks about a method for obtaining meaningful student feedback with regard to how the educational process is going from the student's perspective. I really liked the concept of what she talks about in the article. Her data collection mechanism starts by breaking the students into small groups with 3 to 4 students in each group. The students are given 5 to 6 minutes to discuss each topic, and then they're encouraged to have one recorder write down things that they have all agreed on. The students must be in consensus before they can report each of the topics out. And the topics include what we like about the classroom, things that might need to be evaluated or changed, and then specific ideas for positive change in the classroom. Dr. Buell describes a data collection system that involves breaking the students into small groups, like you might find in a conference setting at a workshop with adults. I think that this would be really empowering for the students, as it would remove the intimidation factor that they might fear if they might feel if they were working independently, filling out a paper form or having to shout out their answers to a school administrator or something. By putting them in a small team of their peers, they're given a prescribed amount of time, and they're able to dialogue amongst their peers and share information. And I think that they would find that there are other kids that maybe learn in the same ways that they do and have different learning styles, and that would be very empowering for the students. And then when they report out and share their information across the classroom, they're going to find that there's more commonalities amongst them, and that too is going to be very empowering. I think incorporating a feedback mechanism such as this could be a very important tool for the teacher and for the students. It seems like it would need to be done early in the year. I would think I would like to see it maybe done before the Christmas break, so that the educator knows how the students feel about the education and the instruction that's been going on up to that point, and that would give the educator an opportunity to make some changes, to reflect and make changes on the delivery of that instruction during the school year where the students are still being affected. If it's done later in the school year, it seems like the changes would be effective for maybe the next cohort of students coming through, but would not really affect the students that are being evaluated, and that might not be effective for anybody because the next cohort of students might have a completely different set of learning needs. I think that this type of mechanism for feedback, it could be really, really powerful for a variety of different learning environments. However, I don't think it would be effective at all for early elementary aged school children. Pre-K through probably grade 2, I think, don't possess the critical thinking skills for the most part that they would need to accurately evaluate the type of instruction that they're getting and what kind of changes would need to be made to improve that level of instruction. They also, I don't think, for the most part, would possess the recording and reporting skills that would be needed to share information amongst themselves, come to a consensus, and then report out. For the older students, I think it could be very valuable, but the facilitator certainly would need to watch for bullying within the groups, and the possibility that a strong personality is kind of taking over for each of the groups. The facilitator would also need to take into consideration cultural differences that exist amongst the students, things that might create a bias in the student responses. Students who have not grown up speaking English might not fully understand the questions that are posed to them in English and might not fully understand what their expectations are. And so in some situations it might be better to to create evaluation questions and survey questions for students that are non-native speakers in their native language. Other issues that might arise are intimidation amongst students that are mainstreamed and might still have some intimidation because of their cultural differences. And so the facilitator is going to need to watch for that, just like they would watch for bullying and a student that might be taking over a group and being a little too assertive. Another obstacle I think that this type of assessment mechanism would face would be the time that it takes to conduct it. Because it requires that a facilitator be in the classroom, the facilitator would likely be somebody at the administrative level, so principal, vice principal, counselor maybe, and that would require taking time out of their very busy schedules to be in the classrooms. It's also taking away 30 minutes of instruction from the teachers, which I think would be a challenge. And even though it's for the betterment of the educational process altogether, I think it would still be difficult to get everyone on board to embrace the concept of taking that kind of time away from everybody. To get it to work effectively, I think the administrative level would have to embrace it and enforce it as a school-wide or systemic policy. So every classroom would need to undergo this type of assessment, and perhaps it could be done with the teachers doing a peer review as facilitators for each other.